Okay, picture this. It's moving day in Jacksonville, Florida. The humidity is sitting at what feels like 200%. You've just carried your absolute heaviest box up 3 flights of stairs, and honestly, all you want in the world is a cold glass of water and a refreshing shower. You walk over, turn on the tap, and nothing. Not a single drop. It's a complete nightmare scenario. But believe it or not, it happens way more often than you think. So, are you ready to get your water flowing and completely avoid this moving day disaster? Let's get into it.
To really understand the system you're connecting to, just look at this massive number, 120 million. That is the incredible scale of Jacksonville's water system in gallons delivered every single day. All of this volume is pumped directly from 139 active artesian wells that tap deep down into the limestone formations of the Floridan aquifer. It's a vast, incredibly complex grid, and successfully plugging your new home into it means you have to navigate a very specific set of rules.
Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're providing your ultimate survival guide for navigating the administrative and sometimes bureaucratic process of setting up water service in the Jacksonville metropolitan area. Whether you're renting your very first apartment or buying a forever home, we're going to make sure you have the exact knowledge you need to get your service activated smoothly and efficiently.
Here is the playbook we'll cover today to move you from moving day confusion to complete confidence. 1. The Jacksonville landscape. 2. Documents and requirements. 3. The application playbook. 4. Timelines and costs. 5. Troubleshooting and pitfalls. And finally, 6. Final steps to activation.
Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1. The Jacksonville landscape. Knowing your jurisdiction.
The absolute most important first step before you fill out a single form is figuring out exactly whose grid your new home is actually on. It's a huge contrast. On one side, we have JEA. That's a massive, municipally owned utility serving over 1 million residents across Duval County and even parts of Clay, Nassau, and St. Johns counties. But here's the catch. If you're moving out to the coast, do not apply to JEA. Coastal communities like Jacksonville Beach, Neptune Beach, and Atlantic Beach manage completely distinct, separate municipal water systems. Applying to the wrong utility is just going to delay your connection, so you've got to verify your municipality first.
Section 2. Documents and requirements. Gathering your inventory. So before you even think about starting the application, let's look at exactly what you need to gather up. For a standard JEA online application, you have to provide your social security number, an unexpired U.S. driver's license or official state ID, your exact service address, and your target activation date. Now, JEA operates on a credit-based system, meaning they check your credit to figure out your deposit requirements. If you prefer not to provide a social security number, or if you just don't have one, you can't use the online portal. Instead, you'll actually need to apply in person down at the Customer Care Center on West Church Street. If you go that route, bring 2 valid forms of government ID, like a passport, green card, or military ID, plus a secondary document like a birth certificate or voter registration.
Section 3. The application playbook. How to apply. Now that you've got your paperwork ready, the actual workflow is a pretty standard 1-2-3 process. Submit your application, pay the required fees or deposits, and set your activation date. For GAA, this is almost entirely handled through their online self-service portal, assuming you supply that social security number. But if your new place is in one of those coastal cities we mentioned, the playbook totally changes. Places like Neptune Beach or Atlantic Beach usually require a physical application submitted straight to their respective city halls, either in person or via email with a scanned copy of your photo ID. Jacksonville Beach might even ask for a certified copy of your rental lease or home sales contract to prove you actually live there before they flip the switch. So, the crucial point is Section 4, Timelines and Costs, what to expect and when.
Let's break down the actual money. GEA's standard minimum security deposits vary depending on the utility type. If you have stellar credit, this whole thing might be waived. But if not, you're looking at $50 for water only, $75 for sewer, or $100 for combined water and sewer. And just a heads up, electric service is a totally separate $200 minimum deposit. Now remember those coastal cities? Their minimums are completely different. Jacksonville Beach, for instance, requires a $125 residential water deposit right out of the gate. And if you happen to have a poor credit history, they can legally scale that deposit up to twice the historical average 2-month utility cost for your specific property.
Next up, the timeline. Utility activations are super sensitive to strict administrative deadlines. GEA generally asks for a standard 3-day processing buffer for normal requests, but what if you need it faster? Well, if you get your request in before 12 p.m. noon, you just pay a standard $10 connection fee per service type. Miss that window and need a same-day emergency connection?
You have until exactly 2 p.m. to call the customer care center, and that fee jumps to $25. For next-day connection, you absolutely must have your online request submitted before the 6 p.m. cutoff. If you miss these windows, your moving day is definitely going to be a dry one.
Now, what's really interesting about this next part is Section 5, Troubleshooting and Pitfalls, Avoiding Common Mistakes.
Okay, here is a frankly hilarious mistake you absolutely must avoid. When you jump on Google and search for JEA utility setup, you need to make 100% sure you are actually on the website for the municipal utility in Jacksonville, Florida. Why? Because there's another utility called the Jackson Energy Authority located all the way in Tennessee. They also use the JEA acronym, they also have water and wastewater applications, and they also require deposits. Mixing up Florida's JEA with Tennessee's Jackson Energy Authority is a surprisingly common error, and yeah, it will definitely leave you without running water in your Florida home.
Now, if you want to bypass the credit check entirely, there is a really clever workaround, a prepaid program called JEA My Way. For anyone wanting to avoid steep upfront deposits, you can just accept the terms, pay the connection fees, and fund your account with a minimum initial prepay balance of just $50. That's it. No credit check, no deposit, and no monthly bill surprises. You literally just add money to your account when it gets low. You do have to be careful, though. If your balance hits zero, your service is automatically disconnected.
Let's see how this builds to Section 6, Final Steps to Activation, Confirming Your Service.
To make sure you have a totally seamless move-in on activation day, there's just a final checklist of physical and administrative things to knock out. First off, make sure your water meter is physically accessible and not blocked by a car or moving boxes. For example, Neptune Beach explicitly requires the meter to be unobstructed before their field crews will even attempt a same-day connection. Second, keep backflow preventers in mind. If your home has an irrigation system or uses reclaimed water, JEA requires a certified backflow preventer to protect the public water supply, and it has to be tested regularly. Finally, don't be shocked when that first bill arrives. Your connection fees for electric, water, and irrigation are all going to be billed as separate, cumulative line items on that very first invoice.
And a quick evergreen disclaimer. Utility infrastructures, deposit tiers, and connection schedules are constantly evolving. So always double-check the most current rates and operational processes directly with JEA or your local city hall before you actually make your move.
So you successfully navigated the bureaucracy. Your service is on, the shower is running, and you can finally enjoy that cold, well-deserved glass of water. But as you settle into your new Jacksonville home, I want you to consider this. Those 120 million gallons flowing every single day rely entirely on the health of the Floridan aquifer. Now that you're officially plugged into the grid, what role are you going to play in water conservation to protect this precious natural resource for future generations? Keep that in mind the next time you turn on the tap. Thanks for joining us on this explainer and enjoy your new home.